Early. Oh, yeah. We're going to be about 2 minutes, and then we're going to start. Just saw Commissioner Maggi pull in, as well as Mike Parsons from Pikewood Media. So just hold for a moment.
Good back there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm looking forward to seeing you this summer. It's been a week. I want you to do everything you can do. Every day you can do. You know, I said a couple months ago. If that's good for you, that's great for us. All right. Oh, great. Nice to meet you too. Great to have you here. I'm going to have you say a few words. Your show. We're excited about that. I know you're Pirates. You know what? That's what brought the kid. All right. Captain, good sir.
Going to relocate here, get closer. Thanks.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. For 56 years, we've been welcoming the Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series to Washington County. It's been a tremendous asset, not only as welcoming some of the finest 13 and 14-year-old baseball players to southwestern Pennsylvania, but also been tremendous in terms of tourism and our ability to show off our region to an international audience. And this year will be no exception as we begin our trek to see who will be the Pony League World Series champion this year. If you would, please join me for a highlight video from last year. To my right. You're going to see me.
You spend so much time, your off-season training, your team practices, playing your league games. If you're lucky, you get to play for a championship, lady. If you're really lucky, you get to play for a world championship, second and first.
Ball to center field. Quito. Right center. Covina, California. 2017 Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series.
You know, not only do we welcome some of the finest players in youth sports, we also welcome the continuing and renewed sense of community spirit each year that comes to Washington County. Our business and community groups working together to make sure our guests have a wonderful time, see some great baseball, and make sure they see all of our tourism assets in this county. That takes a lot of work and a lot of partnerships, which we say Washington County is famous for. Business and government, public and private sector, working together to ensure that great events like this happen and happen well. And it's my pleasure to introduce Bob Gray, the tournament chairman, to talk about all the wonderful things that's going to happen this year in Washington.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. A couple of notes about the video that you saw. The play at the plate with the out at second was the final out of the final inning. We thought if the run doesn't score, Series championship, because Covina got the runner home before the out at second. We went to extra innings, and Covina got a 2-run home run in the top of the next inning to go on to win the World Series title. The play at the plate with the runner from Texas jumping over the Washington County catcher to score the game-ending run was a SportsCenter top 10 play on ESPN. So pretty excited about that exposure, and that has grown over the years, and a lot of that has to do with an intern now multimedia manager for Pony Baseball and Softball, Carson Fox. He is a social media guru type, which does stuff that I have no idea what it's all about, but he took on that role about 3 years ago and has pushed highlights and notes out all over social media and reaching out to the national media as well. As Jeff mentioned, this is the 56th year that the Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series will be played here in Washington, Pennsylvania, the 35th year in a row. There was a period of 11 years where the World Series was played in 7 different cities, but in 1984 it returned to Washington County to stay. And that's what my organization, World Series Tournaments Incorporated, is our #1 function, and that is to keep the World Series here where it all began in 1952. This is the 67th Pony League World Series overall. The first was played adjacent to Washington High School's football stadium on what is now their football practice field, but that used to be their baseball field. And the 1952 World Series was played there because it's home now. Lou Hayes Pony Field in Washington Park wasn't ready. They played during the regular season on that field, but were not ready to host the World Series there in 1952. We'll talk throughout the day, and there's information in your packets on a wide range of subjects today. For us, one of the most important is the first one that I'm going to deal with, and that is the extension of our partnership and sponsorship agreement with Dick's Sporting Goods. Ashley Bazilla, sponsorship manager for Dick's Sporting Goods, is with us today, and you'll hear from her here in just a couple of minutes. But I want to tell you a little bit about the World Series and what it is that Dick's Sporting Goods makes possible. This event brings more than $2 million in annual economic impact to our community. 25,000 spectators each year go through the gates at Lou Hayes Pony Field. Our partnership with Dick's Sporting Goods has changed the way Lou Hayes Pony Field looks in many ways. Our home run fence and our perimeter fence has incredibly beautiful signage that just sets the park off as a special baseball stadium. The entrance concourse area with a special covering there that's there during the World Series. The seating area above third base for our lawn chair fans with the Dick's Sporting Goods 10x10 tents in our little own tent city above third base. Our hospitality suite for our night sponsors above the press box underwent a major renovation a year ago, all at the hands of Dick's Sporting Goods. Our partnership has also changed the way we think. For many years, we said, we've never done it like that before. The 7 most crippling words that any organization can utter on a regular basis. They've changed our thinking to, what if? Let's try it and see what happens. 7 powerful words for a growing organization. Our partnership with Dick's Sporting Goods has brought other partners into play. People in the Pittsburgh region see what we're doing because of what Dick's has done, and they want to become part of what we're doing. And our partnership with Dick's Sporting Goods and Washington County Tourism Promotion has solidified our foundation, our standing in this community, and our future here in Washington County. If you would, please welcome here to the podium the Sponsorship Marketing Manager and our friend from Dick's Sporting Goods, Ashley Bazilla.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, I'm Ashley Bazilla. I'm the Sponsorship Manager at Dick's Sporting Goods. We are very excited to extend our partnership with this great organization and this event, the Pony League Series, for another 3 years. So this year we have tons of stuff planned, and really for the tournament, and really as a national sporting goods company based here is a great local organization and event. Thank you.
Since Ashley let the cat out of the bag, 3 years is we finished up a 3-year term, the first 3 years, and many of the changes that I spoke about happened, some in that very first year and then others over the last couple of years as well. But we're excited about the next 3 years coming and all the things that that partnership brings. The players love the uniforms, custom made, custom numbered, theirs to keep. When the series ends, they go home to the 10 teams. That's a keepsake forever, and that is head to toe. Hat, jersey, pants, belt, socks, the whole deal. And they're really, really incredible. We've talked many times about we want this to be an event, a family event, but it is a baseball tournament. All of the things that happen around, the fan fest, the musical entertainment that we have at the ballpark, it works around the fact that we have an incredible baseball tournament that takes place here in Washington County, and that is the 13 and 14-year-old Pony League World Series. The culmination of, for some of the teams that come here, months of tournament qualifying and preparation. For some teams, 5 of them have already been determined. Vienna, Austria is our first. They are the European champions. They'll make their second appearance here in Washington, Pennsylvania at the World Series. The European team has never won the 14-year-old World Series, though the Netherlands last year won the Colt League World Series for 16-year-olds. Vienna went 5-2 overall in European zone play to qualify, and they'll meet the host area champion on Friday, August 10th at 8 o'clock. Our next team is making their first ever appearance here in Washington. That is Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, their first ever berth in the World Series. They went unbeaten through pool play and then their 3-round playoff bracket as well. Tijuana will meet the South Zone champions Saturday, August 11th at 2:30. Only one team from Mexico has ever won the World Series. That was in 1972. The team from Monterrey was world champions. Another first time ever. Yaguate San Cristobal, Dominican Republic is the Caribbean Zone champion. 3rd team from the Dominican Republic to win the Caribbean Zone, 2011 and 2016. You may remember 2016, the team from the Dominican had visa issues and was not able to make the trip to Washington County. On a video, you heard about a Peters Township player hitting a home run. John Salvetti was in that World Series because of the visa issue. Peters Township got to play and actually won a game in that 2016 World Series. But we're told that, yes, the visa issues are square. We're hopeful of that. We're looking forward to welcoming Yaguate San Cristobal, Dominican Republic, here to the World Series. Santo Domingo is the only team from the Dominican to win a game in the World Series. That 2011 squad won their opening game and then lost 2 in a row and was eliminated. Not a newcomer. The Asia Pacific Zone champion is Chinese Taipei. They'll make their 17th appearance here at the Pony League World Series. They've won 8 times in their 16 previous visits, and all of those since 1994. So you do the math. Been here a lot, and when they get here, about a 50-50 shot that they're going to win the World Championship. They won in 2015 and 16 back-to-back. Did not qualify last year, losing out to Korea. They'll take on the North Zone, Caribbean Zone winner on Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock. And our host program is the Washington County, Pennsylvania squad, coming out of the Founders League, formed between Washington Youth Baseball, the original pony baseball program in the world, Canonsburg Youth Baseball, the second oldest individual youth baseball program in pony history, and this year McGuffey players also available to try out. Our efforts continue to expand the footprint of the Washington County squad to include all pony registered programs here in Washington County. For the host, the only championship came in 1955, and their last year to make the finals was now 20 years ago. Washington County will take on the East Zone champions Saturday, August 11th at noon in one of our AT&T Sportsnet games. The host area will be one of the next teams to qualify. That represents an area 90-mile radius of Washington County, teams outside the Founders League boundaries. For many years, Johnstown dominated the host area. Years before that, North Allegheny through the 1990s was the dominant team in the region. Youngstown, Ohio was the host area representative here a year ago. There are several satellite tournaments that will be played that will funnel into the host area tournament in McCandless Township, and that will end on August the 6th. The winner of the host area will take on Vienna on Friday night, August 10th at 8 o'clock. And the 4 U.S. zones will be the final spots clinched. The East Zone in High Point, North Carolina will end on August the 4th. And the other 3 zones, the North Zone in Bay City, Michigan, the West Zone in West Hills, California, and the South Zone in Youngsville, Louisiana, will all end on August the 5th. One note about the South Zone, Chet Beach, who this boardroom was named for, was a zone director from Texas and was World Series director a number of times. He always talked about how things are bigger in Texas. Well, they expanded that to include the entire South Zone. They take 16 teams into the South Zone tournament and run that over a weekend. 2 separate 18 brackets with a bracket winners meeting and a single winner come to Washington County championship game. And that will conclude on Sunday, August the 5th. A lot of exciting pieces as you sense the worldwide scope. You go from Vienna, Austria to Chinese Taipei, Tijuana, Mexico, San Cristobal, Dominican Republic, and all across the United States. We have to find a way to reach out and share that news, and that's what happens with our multimedia outreach, the various platforms that are available. And the newest one, the newest piece to our multi-platform, multimedia outreach. Today I want to say thank you to Sean McClintock, the Senior Vice President and General Manager of AT&T Sportsnet. Many of you know that franchise from watching the Pittsburgh Pirates, watching the Pittsburgh Penguins, and a lot of area collegiate activities as well. Sean, if you would stand and be recognized. AT&T Sportsnet is going to be the home of 5 games live in this year's Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series. Our opening game Friday, August the 10th. Our noon game Saturday the 11th. Both winners bracket finals on Monday night, 5:30 and 8 o'clock, and our championship game Wednesday at 7:30. So we certainly appreciate that. We should also thank Major League Baseball. They could not have given us a better Pirate schedule to fit this coverage in, because the Bucks are going to be on the West Coast, later start times. Everything we're doing fits very, very nicely into that, and that is a crucial piece about how we were able to make this happen. But Sean, thank you for being here, and thank you for what AT&T Sportsnet is bringing to this year's Pony League World Series. Our video coverage, both on AT&T Sportsnet and through our online presentations, is produced by Pikewood Sports, a division of West Virginia Radio Corp. This will be our 4th year together. Is that right, Mike? Mike Parsons is with us, and he's a guy that gets only about a half hour more sleep that whole week than I get, and that's not very much. And Mike, we appreciate what Pikewood means to the Pony League World Series. Thank you. Pikewood's been involved in a production of the World Series, the Mountain East Conference, NCAA Division II Football Championships, West Virginia High School Sports, the Cancer Research Classic, and many other regional and national events. And they bring top-notch work to what we do here at the Pony League World Series. Our video stream is available and powered by MLB.com's industry-leading live stream technology. All of the games, all 17 to 19 games, depending on that if necessary thing that double elimination brackets bring up, will be available on online and mobile platforms through MLB.com. Our live streams will include the WJPA radio play-by-play on the games that are not on AT&T Sportsnet. Nearly every World Series game played here in Washington, Pennsylvania has been on WJPA starting in 1952. Mark Uriah has called the action for more than 30 years. He is the radio voice of the World Series. He'll be joined in the booth many of the games by Lanny Fratteri, the longtime voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Lanny with us for the 4th year on our broadcast as well. I always joke with the two of them that this is the only time that Lanny has to take second bill to somebody in terms of being the voice of something, and that's just because he was a little busy in the mid-'80s and '90s and all of that with the Pirates. So Mark's been, since 1984, Mark Uriah has called almost every game of the Pony League World Series. The Observer Reporters activities around the World Series will be available on our multimedia platform as well. The Observer Reporter is truly the home of Pony baseball. The conference room at their 122 South Main Street location was the home in the winter of 1951 of the organizing meetings when Pony baseball came into existence. And the Observer Reporter staff will cover in print, online, on their social media throughout the World Series. And of course, ponyworldseries.org, our online home, will include links to the video, to the audio, to the Game Changer live scoring, which is part of the Dick's Sporting Goods family. Also to live stats, the Observer Reporter scores and updates, and their Twitter, Facebook, and other social media updates as well. We have fun at the World Series, not just watching great baseball and seeing the interaction of kids with other kids who can't speak the same language. They speak baseball, and smiles is the universal language. A lot of smiles. There are tears. We tell the kids and still be the champion, but they have a blast. A lot of fun, the smiles. But we do things outside the fence as well. They're a lot of fun, and that starts on Thursday, August the 9th, the Met Express Fan Fest, hosted at Dick's Sporting Goods Washington location. The teams will be there, some of them showing off their brand new Dick's Sporting Goods uniforms. There'll be interactive games. The Pittsburgh Pirates, Bucko Brigade, again on hand, along with the Pirate Parrot. And that'll be the final stop of the Washington County Tourism Promotion Agency's Hot Dogs Tour. That will be the 3rd of 3 stops, and they'll be there at the Fan Fest as well. Friday kicks off with our Home Run Derby at 11 a.m. The Washington Area Service Club's luncheon for the teams will take place following that. We'll have musical entertainment pre-game on Friday and between games on both Saturday and Sunday, thanks to our partnership with California University of Pennsylvania, our entertainment sponsor. And then we start playing baseball at 5:30, the first game on AT&T Sportsnet. Saturday, one of the most incredible events you will ever be witness to. The Champions League game, played at Lou Hayes Pony Field. Not the championship game, but the Champions League game, a game for special needs kids of all ages and abilities, varying handicap situations. The Pony World Series players, gifted athletes, get to become the cheerleaders, the fans, and help if absolutely necessary, but the kids that play in our Champions League game really want to do it themselves, and they love to play the game of baseball and softball, and they get to play it on the World Series field Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. You should plan to come. You will be changed. 11 o'clock, we host our opening ceremonies. That's a change from last year and previous years. For many years, our opening ceremonies took place between games 1 and 2 on Friday night. With a little weather issue last year, we put the opening ceremonies off because we knew we had weather coming. In about a 2-hour window, we could get the second game in, and we did. We moved our opening ceremonies to Saturday, and we decided overnight that we would include our Champions League players in the opening ceremonies as well. And that just changed the whole way we look at the opening ceremonies. So those will happen at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Then we have games at noon, 2:30, and 5. Sunday also that same time schedule, following our Breakfast of Champions at the Doubletree in Meadowlands. The highlight of that will be each manager coming to the podium and spending a few minutes telling us how they got there. About 6 of the managers, well, that might be a stretch. Most of them we can understand. Some of them we can't, and yet it's hysterical. You have people communicating and trying to translate for people at their tables. It's really a neat time, and you can see the appreciation that they have for what our sponsors and support staff have done to make it possible for them to come here to Washington. Sunday is Pirates Day at the ballpark. We will have gate giveaways, and the entire Bucko Brigade, alumni, management, and staff will be on hand on Sunday. Monday, when we go to daytime baseball in the mornings and winners bracket games in the evenings, we do free admission for the elimination games at 10 and 12:30, and then winners bracket games in the evening. Monday night is West Virginia night, and through our partnership with Pipewood Sports, it's also mascot night, and more than a dozen, the furries that were in Pittsburgh, they're all gone, but we have more than a dozen of your favorite furry creatures from around the area will be with us on Monday night, mascot night, and the West Virginia Black Bears taking part in Monday night's festivities. Tuesday, again, eliminations at 10 and 12:30 with free admission. Our 5th annual Military and First Responders Appreciation Night. We've brought in our police, fire, ambulance, and EMS personnel, and want to say thank you to them on Tuesday night as well. Free tickets are available to active, retired, reserve military personnel, and also to police, fire, ambulance, and EMS, either online or by presenting an ID at the gate. That is also our division championship night, and we can decide, we can be ready to go for the championship if the winners bracket teams Tuesday night beat the teams that won Tuesday during the day. If the other happens, we're coming back Wednesday morning for elimination games, and then we'll go to our championship on Wednesday night. And Wednesday night at the ballpark, it's all about the baseball. We get back to the reason that everybody made their way here, and that is to crown the Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series Championship. Some things will be different this year at Lou Hayes Pony Field, and the one that's going to be most visible is the brand new video board that will be above the left field fence area, 11 by 17. It will have player photos, stats, and all those exciting things, plus replays, highlight packages, sponsor messages, and all of that with a big thank you to Sheets Markets and Abarta Coca-Cola for making that happen. We're really excited about what that's going to add, the field that that's going to bring to the World Series. The Dick's Sporting Goods entranceway at Lou Hayes Pony Field, and I mentioned earlier our signage around the ballpark, the complex, and the playing surface, the uniforms, our renovated hospitality suite. Exciting things happening there, plus staff and fan apparel, all available through our souvenir stand, thanks to Dick's Sporting Goods. One of the things that may happen in the coming time, we are currently engaged in a facility study. We're looking at expanded parking and concourse areas, press and media facilities, new dugouts, additional restroom facilities, all part of what is the best use of the facility that we have, the footprint that we now have, and what's the best use of the available resources as it relates to promoting this event and hosting it for the best good. So keep your eyes and ears open for the results of that study and what that means in the months coming. There's nothing we can't do at the Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series if we have the money and the people to make them happen. And I want to say thank you to many folks who have made that possible. Some with checks as small as $25 and as large as the check that Dick's Sporting Goods it presents to us each year, and the support of the Washington County Tourism Promotion Agency, both a direct support to make sure that the TV and video coverage happens, to promoting the event regionally, and the logistical support to make all of this happen. Dick's is in our fourth year, first year of our new agreement. The tourism agency and Chamber of Commerce foundational support came on board after a really troubling 2012 World Series. To be honest, we thought we were going to have to let that World Series go somewhere else for the first time since 1983. But we talked to the tourism agency, and the decision made was that we were going to give this one more shot, one more look, see if there weren't better ways to do things than what we were doing. That old, we've never done it that way before. We had no choice but to look at what if. Let's try it and see what happens. And we've been thrilled with what has happened. Promotional support and funding for the broadcast, the web stream from the agency, the Observer Reporter, our presenting sponsor, and I mentioned the foundational meetings. We've always thought that it was really pretty ironic and appropriate that the sponsorship package that we have with the Observer Reporter is presenting sponsor, because if not for Lou Hayes, the founder of Pony Baseball, happened while he was sports editor at the Washington paper back in 1951, that none of what we're doing today would be going on. So it's very fitting that the Observer Reporter is our presenting sponsor, making this event happen. I mentioned Lou Hayes. This is 20 years now that Lou Hayes passed away. Was a wonderful man, respected around the world for his efforts to support youth baseball. But more importantly than that, Lou Hayes saw Pony Baseball as a tool to teach young men at the time, and since then young women, to learn to play by the rules, with the expressed hope that by learning to play by the rules, they would learn to live by the rules. This was not an end unto itself. This was a tool that communities could use to grow up better young adults. And Lou passed away Saturday before Easter 20 years ago while working in his flower garden. And we miss him regularly, and we are forever indebted to the work that Lou Hayes brought to this operation. Corporate sponsorships enable us to not only pay the bills, but to look forward to facility improvements on the field, around the complex, to additional fan entertainment offerings, as we've talked about different music, the mascots, Pirates involvement, etc., and the increased promotional outreach, which grows the event, putting more people in the stands and tuning in. Today, through the support of Dick's Sporting Goods, the Washington County Tourism Promotion Agency, our county commissioners, all three of whom are here today, and our sponsors, we're committed to not only keeping this event here, but to continue to grow it each year. Our commitments at this moment for this year's World Series have already surpassed our total for 2017, and we have a lot of work left to do, John, on renewals, and it's an exciting time to be in the chairmanship of the Dick's Sporting Goods Pony League World Series. We hope that we're going to present for you the best event that we have ever had. The volunteers that work in the various committees that I chair number in the hundreds. 400, 500, maybe 600 different volunteers, either leading up to or during that week of action, make the Pony League World Series happen. We're an all-volunteer organization, not a single paycheck to a single person that does the running of the Pony League World Series. And it takes 400 to 500 from ground crew, parking, gate admission, promotion, signage, concession stand. 25 to 30 people every game man the concession stands. Souvenir stand, clean up around the ballpark. All of those things, all done by volunteers. And without them, obviously, this would be a whole different gathering that we were having here today. It has been my pleasure for now 34 years to head up this organization. It's not the same responsibility in terms of the actual workload that it was years ago. If you look in the program from last year that's there, you'll see nobody had more than 2 years as chairman. They were all smarter than I was because they did their thing and then they got out. I'm still paying for the 2 hot dogs with everything and fries with gravy that I got at Shorty's in the fall of 1984. Those are the most expensive hot dogs I've ever eaten in my life. But we changed the structure of the organization. The chairman doesn't go to every committee meeting. I don't debate and discuss how much we sell hot dogs for in the souvenir stand or whether we're going to have gym shorts or bike shorts for sale in a souvenir. None of that matters to me except that we're doing the things that the people that come to the event want to have. I don't go to all those meetings. There are people that oversee that and do a great job that know much more about those pieces than I do. And they don't let me work on the field because if you look at my what used to be flower beds that are weed beds at my house, you would understand they don't want me anywhere near that beautiful natural grass surface that is Lou Hayes Pony Field. Jeff, I'll have you come back. Our thanks will all be around for questions afterwards as well, and I believe you're going to see what the commissioners. Great. Thank you.
Of course, this event cannot be possible without strong partnerships. And I'd like to call up for a few remarks the Washington County Commissioners, Commissioner Larry Maggi, Commissioner Diana Irie Vaughn, and Commissioner Schober. Can you join us for a few remarks?
Okay, it's an exciting time here in Washington County. You know, as somebody who's been a lifelong resident of Washington County, I played Little League Baseball, I played Pony League Baseball. Now, I have a friend in here who I played with, and he'll test to my abilities later. But for clarity, I never played the All-Star Game or in the World Series, just for clarity. But that was an end of summer ritual for young ball players in this area to go to the Pony World Series and watch these youth from all around the world participate on this stage. And it's so exciting as a county commissioner now and being involved through the Tourism Promotion Agency that we can now showcase what Washington County is about. We can now showcase this hidden gem that we've known about since 1952 here in Washington County to the whole world. And the whole world gets to see Washington County, gets to see our region, and see what we have to offer here. So that's what's exciting about it. So exciting to see these young players from all around the world who show the passion, the excitement, the commitment, the skills, and the tears throughout this event in August. So we're proud to be a showcase on the world stage. We're proud to be a part of it. And we look forward to August 10th through August 15th. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Washington County is truly a special place because of the people. And I want to say thank you so much to Bob Gray, who has made sure that the Pony League World Series has been alive and well for a very long time. What you brought to Washington County cannot just be duplicated in other places. It takes a great commitment for someone to put blood, sweat, and tears for so very long into their community. And to Dick's Sporting Goods, we cannot thank you enough. You are always in the community, giving back, and we're grateful that you're playing a part, a very large role in the Pony League World Series. And to our tourism board, we have members here. We thank you for your hard work, your diligence, and your commitment to the community to make sure that this wonderful event that increases the quality of life in Washington County can continue. We're proud to be home of Pony League World Series, and you have our commitment that we will continue to support this event for a very long time to come. God bless you all.
to repeat all the words that were said. And truly, you know, our Pony Baseball, it's the youth of the future. That's who's going to be leading this country. And we're building character, and baseball is so important to not only Washington, around the world. And I have seen in all the good work, Bob, of you and all the groups and all the supporters, where we have come over the last few years. And what's happened is that we have tried to bring the world to Washington County, to come here and play baseball for the World Series. But I think with all the media, all the support we've been getting from all the people involved, now we're taking Washington County to the world with the transmission of the games. And when you see the outreach that's going on, this is great. It's great for our community, but it's great for the kids that are really playing the game and what it's doing for our future. And so thank you to all that made this happen. Thank you.
Thank you again for being with us this afternoon. And I'd like to end on something I think all three commissioners touched upon. You know, the world will be watching Washington County during the Pony League World Series. And I hope that what they see is the community support, tremendous support from our community, from the businesses, and others that make this a truly special event for Washington County. And with all the support, with all this organizational structure, and all the resources that we put behind it, it's for something very simple. And what that is to support some of the finest youth players in the world coming to simply play baseball and to be here for the love of the game. So we certainly appreciate you being with us this afternoon. All of us will be around for interviews. We also have lunch available outside. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting the Pony League World Series presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you. I'm good. You got it.